Our Mission Sunday weekend, and this weekend we welcome Sister Diane Zigo, a sister of St. Joseph of Carondolet, who will speak to us about their missions in Peru, and the second collection will be for their missions in Peru. Sister Diane.
Good afternoon. My name is Sister Diane Zigo, and I am grateful to be welcomed by the cathedral community on behalf of the Sisters of St. Joseph of Carondolet, speaking for our sisters in our vice province of Peru. I know that many of you are acquainted with our Sister Maureen D'Onofrio, who ministered here at the cathedral for many very happy years. I serve here in Syracuse in the education department over at Lemoyne College. This weekend's readings are an appropriate framework for the story of our sister's service in Peru. The Book of Wisdom reminds us of the Israelites' abiding faith that God would always be with them in the face of persecution and destruction. The letter to the Hebrews contains one of the most eloquent passages from the New Testament, often quoted and worth committing to heart. Faith is the realization of what is hoped for and evidence of things not seen. The Gospel of Luke encourages us to live each day in the assurance that God is always present and everything we do, however insignificant it might seem, matters. Our sister's service in Peru is a powerful story of this kind of faith, lived out daily. Although they're closely related, there's a difference between hope and faith. Hope is the expectation of something good to be experienced or received in the future. Faith is the recognition that what you want or need is yours now. What you hope for has not yet happened, but faith is what you live out in the present. You demonstrate faith by your everyday choices and actions because you believe in what God has already promised. By faith, Abraham was willing to journey to a place that he was promised as an inheritance. He didn't just hope to get there someday, he made the move. Faith is the initiative to begin, but stay on the journey, sustained by the conviction that you will indeed arrive because God has assured you the outcome is already yours. It's going to happen, so what are you waiting for? By faith, Abraham lived out his days in the promised land as in a foreign country, living in tents while hoping for a future of a city with foundations. Even if the kind of promised land that Abraham looked forward to was not part of his everyday reality yet, he nonetheless lived out his relationship with God every day, faithful to the commandments and fulfilling his ordinary responsibilities. You have to live your life with integrity now in order for future hopes to become a reality. By faith, Abraham and Sarah did not merely long for a child, they became the parents of a very real son, Isaac, beginning a line of descendants that continues to this day. Stories of our sisters' ministries in Peru parallel these examples of Abraham's acts of faith. By faith, responding to Pope St. John XXIII's request that religious communities send members as missionaries to Latin America, our North American sisters began a journey that took them far from their homes to an unfamiliar continent. 54 years later, our mission has become our vice province of Peru. Our 24 sisters, most of whom are native Peruvians now, live in 6 communities in the cities of Lima, Iquitos, and Tacna, where they serve those struggling against poverty through their ministries of education, parish outreach, hospital chaplaincy, prison ministry, youth ministry, and counseling. By faith, they live each moment knowing that God acts through them in order to help people cope with their circumstances and sustain hope for a better future. Sister Marie Shu, a Syracuse native, has been working in the prisons of Lima for decades. She's always attentive to the most urgent needs. Sister Marie initiates ways to reach people, and she never worries about how it's going to be done. She's currently going into the areas of the prison where the inmates who have been causing trouble are put to be punished, usually people starting fights, that sort of thing. And it's a place of darkness and isolation. These are the marginalized among an already marginalized population. Sister Marie is present to these men, offering them hope, assistance, and guidance. They know they did wrong. They're deeply ashamed. But Sister Marie helps them reflect on how not to make the same mistakes and how to become reintegrated into the prison population again. Her presence with them lets them know that even in this place of absolute despair and loneliness, someone remembers them, they're cared about, they're human beings, and they have the capacity to change. They can be healed here. This ministry is possible because of the support of the Mission Fund. Chaplains in Peru, in the prisons, are mostly missionaries who do not receive a stipend for their work. They're supported instead by the generosity of those who believe in this kind of work and understand that it heals the broken and it restores what was lost. By faith, a service our sisters began 20 years ago is now being carried out by the very people they first served. Canto Chico is a low-income barrio in Peru built up on the hillsides, and the hillsides in Peru are not where the rich live. On the hillsides, there's no water or electricity typically. People have to walk up and down steep hills to get where they need to go. Our sisters opened their homes for after-school homework help to the community's children. At first, the youngest Peruvian sisters did much of this work, but now our formation house is in another part of the city, so fewer sisters are available. But the work continues because the children who once received the homework help are now young adults continuing their education in secondary schools, vocational programs, and universities. Through the Mission Fund, they now can be paid a stipend for their tutoring, and this stipend allows them to continue their own educations, paying for tuition, transportation, books, and they can become a new generation of securely employed workers and leaders, no longer impoverished, and dedicated to helping the next generation of children achieve the same dreams they did. So thank you for allowing me to share these reflections and stories, and thank you so much for your own acts of faith and generosity that affect the lives of people right here in Syracuse, as well as people very far away. Acts of faith that make hope possible. I thank you.